This is Matthew Cratter from Bitcoin University, and today I wanted to talk about Ethereum dying. This is in stark contrast to what was happening a year ago. A year ago, all the Ethereans were talking about the flippening and how ETH was going to flip Bitcoin, in other words, surpass its market cap. The merge happened approximately a year ago. This was when Ethereum moved from proof of work to proof of stake, and this was supposed to drive the flippening and really cause ETH to outperform Bitcoin over that period. What in fact has happened since September 15th of 2022, Bitcoin is up 34% and ETH is only up 10%. It looks like ETH is actually underperforming McDonald's stock over that period. So you probably would have been better having your money in a real business like McDonald's. If we take a look at how the ETH Bitcoin chart looks, we had a death cross back in January of this year, and ETH has never really recovered from that. Every time it tries to poke its head above the red line, which is the 200-day moving average, it gets rebuffed. It spent a lot of time below the blue line, and the blue line, the 50-day moving average, now trending down. So not looking good. In fact, it's been straight down really since the merge. And this makes sense because what we're seeing on the chart is a result of Ethereum losing favor among institutional investors, as we read in this article. Now, what's the worst part of Ethereum? Is it the giant premine and presale? Is it having a living founder, unlike Bitcoin, having a living founder who likes to pick his nose and walk around wearing pajamas and a cat purse as the face of the project? If we take a look here, we can see Vitalik doing some proof of work, doing some mining of his own. I'm not sure how environmentally friendly this is. And here we can see him with his cat purse. And here we can see him laughing. He's quite happy, in fact, because he's already dumped 25% of his coins on his followers. And in the last couple of days, he just moved another $1 million of ETH to Coinbase, presumably to sell it because he moved it to one of his selling accounts. If you're finding this video helpful so far, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and leave a comment as well, maybe a question for a future video or a suggestion for a future topic. Now, while Vitalik is a huge liability to the project, to the Ethereum project, in my opinion, and he's a great reason why you should never be able to sleep soundly at night when any of your money is parked in Ethereum, I would argue that the worst thing about Ethereum is actually this, and I'm not sure we've ever talked about it on this channel. The problem with Ethereum is the whole system is set up to maximize rent seeking by large ETH holders and beneficiaries of the huge premine and presale. A lot of Ethereum sheep don't even realize this, but what Ethereum does, the way the whole system is set up since EIP 1559 and since the move to proof of stake, what Ethereum now does is it extracts money from its users, from its transactors, and gives that money to large Ethereum stakers. And the reason this works this way is the more Ethereum you own and stake, the higher the probability that you'll be chosen to win the next block. So how exactly does this work in terms of transaction fees? When you make an Ethereum transaction, you pay a base fee, and then you pay a priority fee that's sometimes called a tip to the validators, i.e. the people who have staked their ETH. And these are predominantly large pools of capital and beneficiaries from the premine. Unlike Bitcoin too, in ETH, you pay this transaction fee whether or not your transaction goes through, which is another nightmare. You might have to pay repeated fees. Even in the traditional fiat system, when you send a wire, you pay that wire fee and your wire goes through. You never pay for things that you don't get. But Ethereum is even worse in this respect. You pay that fee whether or not your transaction goes through. So you have the base fee, the priority fee, also known as the tip. That base fee is burned under EIP 1559. This, I believe, happened in 2020. This was put into place. And when that base fee is burned, this helps to decrease the overall supply of ETH, which is bullish for ETH stakers and validators. And those are one and the same because we no longer have miners since ETH moved to proof of stake. Now, the ETH stakers / validators keep the priority fee or tip. So the base fee is burned, decreasing the supply and helping them. And then they're further helped by the fact they get to keep that priority fee or tip, getting even richer. If you can see what's happening, basically this entire system is set up to rent seek off of transactors in the system in order to benefit ETH holders. And this should remind you of the endless tolls and fees in the traditional fiat system that serve to enrich banks and payment processors. Here's the summary. Unlike Bitcoin, in Ethereum, users get financially penalized in terms of their complete holdings in the system. They get penalized for using the network while holders of ETH, who are the validators, get rewarded. I have to ask you, how many Ethereum people do you know who are aware of this central dynamic that has been caused by EIP 1559 combined with the move to proof of stake? If you want to read more about Ethereum gas and base fees and priority fees, I will link to this article from the Ethereum Foundation below. Now, how is Bitcoin different? Bitcoin's quite different because it runs on proof of work. Bitcoin miners need to burn real electricity and source the lowest cost electricity that they can find. And in this way, Bitcoin mining is extremely efficient. They don't just need to sit on their hands with their staked ETH. They need to get out in the real world. They need to purchase expensive equipment, Bitcoin mining rigs, also known as ASICs. These are expensive, depreciating assets. And there's no guarantee for these people and these investors that they will realize a decent return on their investment. They could spend billions of dollars on ASICs, Bitcoin mining rigs, have lots of smart people on their team, source some of the lowest cost electricity around, and still end up in bankruptcy. And this is what free market capitalism looks like. This is what happened to Core Scientific. They went bankrupt, whereas under proof of stake, you just sit on your coins and you keep collecting more coins. ETH stakers can just sit on their hands doing nothing and continue to collect what really looks like interest income. And in this way, Ethereum recreates the fiat system where the rich get richer and are rewarded for just being rich. This is the huge difference between proof of stake and proof of work that you'll never hear about from Vitalik or Joe Lubin. Rocket Pool, decentralized Ethereum staking pool. Wanted to talk about that here at the end because it pretends to be decentralized. The funny thing, though, is they're one of the largest offenders when it comes to censoring Ethereum blocks and imposing OFAC, U.S. government censorship on blocks. If we take a look at Rocket Pool over the past, I don't know what this period is, I believe it's the last 30 days, Rocket Pool has produced or found 213 blocks, and they've censored 118 of those. So 55% of those blocks have been censored because they were running transactions that the U.S. government didn't like. So this is your slavery chain. This is not freedom money. This is money that's actively enforcing U.S. government regulations and compliance. And in many cases, this is quite silly. But we can see over the last 30 days, 46% of blocks have been enforcing OFAC compliance. To make matters even worse, it looks like Vitalik Buterin has been working closely with the spy company, the chain surveillance company Chain Analysis, to work on ways of basically ruining people's privacy by having other people prove that their funds are associated with approved sets of past deposits. This chain surveillance, much of it is pseudoscience, and it's used as a form of government control over blockchain. So we wouldn't be surprised to see Vitalik doing this. This combination, though, of censoring non-OFAC compliant blocks compared with this being worked on in the background definitely bodes poorly for Ethereum as freedom money. And you have to understand, this is not something that's going to help to pump Ethereum's price. People will move from less free forms of money to more free forms of money. And if Ethereum becomes captured, AML, KYC, it's really going to be no different than PayPal or Venmo or one of these groups, one of these financial networks. You're much better off using them and not having to pay the high gas fees and the high transaction fees. So this is what Ethereum is doing. It's really moving itself towards becoming an even more captured system than it has been in the past. And this is one reason we're seeing it trending so poorly against Bitcoin and underperforming, especially since the merge. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that subscribe and like button. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video. And let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.